Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the two easiest ways to grow your social media marketing agency in 2020. These are two ways that people are not really speaking about. Most people just focus on the sales, the outreach methods, etc. And all that stuff is very important. I've made a lot of videos on those topics, but what I want to cover in this video is two of the easiest ways I've personally used to grow my agency. And it wasn't until I implemented these two methods that it was actually so easy to grow my social media marketing agency. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm gonna hop on the whiteboard and let's get right into it. So the first thing that we want to consider is what I call the VPC, which is the value per client. This is basically how much a client means to you, right? It's not how much they pay you at the start, it's just how much a client means to you. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that during a partnership, right, during the duration of your partnership with a client, this value could change. The value that you signed them on for could generally change, right? And in my case, what I found is that it usually does change. And for a lot of my students as well, it usually does change. In fact, we're very methodical in the way we start increasing our value by just offering more value to the client, okay? So what I recommend you do is, the first thing I recommend you do is offer one single service, especially just to get them through the door, and especially if you are a beginner and don't really know any other services that you can offer, right? Just start with one single service. The reason why that is, the reason why you only want to do one service is because it's much easier to get them to agree to one single service, one single solution, right? Than to get them to agree to a whole host of different solutions, right? Why? Because it's much easier for them to understand that this is the solution they need, right? And it reduces a lot of complexity. Then we'll start opening up the different things that we can do for them. So that is the first thing that you want to keep in mind. Then as you start building your skill set, maybe you're already at that point where you can offer more services, then you should definitely look for ways to add more value to the client. And this is particularly important and relevant in the e-commerce niche. And the reason why this is because with e-commerce, the KPI that we're looking for, that we're optimizing for, is a sale. And there's a lot of things that come into play to get someone to purchase. It's not just the Facebook ads. Yes, the Facebook ads is definitely a big chunk of it, right? It's definitely massive. And that's why there's a ton of e-commerce businesses out there who are completely desperate for Facebook ads. And it's the one service that my agency offers that has the biggest impact on the growth of our clients. But there's a ton of other things. I'm talking CRO, right? Conversion rate optimization. I'm talking landing page building, right? How to build an optimized website, how to build a whole funnel, how to build, for example, a brand ambassador program or an influencer marketing program, how to, for example, create their email marketing flows, maybe a messenger chatbot. So there's so many things, right? And that's also why I love e-commerce, because there's so much room for growth as an entrepreneur yourself. So that is what I recommend you do. And I recommend that you start doing this once you've kept them on for 5-6 months. You can start definitely earlier, right? If it's very urgent for them and if there's a very clear lack of something. But I just found that in the 5th, 6th month, the partnership is really is very healthy. They definitely see the value of your service, and it's much easier to upsell them to those services. Now, a bit about my story and my agency. Basically, when I started out and when I started landing my first e-commerce clients, one of the things that we took a lot of pride in at MoC is that we would offer them so much value. And this is value that is not directly correlated to the scope of work, right? Yes, they had hired us for Facebook ads, but we talked to them about email marketing, about Clickview flows. For example, we talked to them about website optimization. We draft the whole sales process for them, right? So yes, technically they're only paying us to run the Facebook ads and run traffic to their website and get sales, right? But we're actually giving them so much value upfront, right? And they absolutely love that. And so then I vividly remember that it got to a point where this client where, they had this other team that was taking care of their email marketing. The client just generally knew that we knew so much more about email marketing, and the client would tell this team that were handling the email marketing to implement a lot of the ideas that we were telling them, right? Because quite frankly, our ideas were much more superior. And then it got to a point where like there was just so much friction between us and the other team handling the email marketing that I just posed a question in a catch-up call with the client, and the client was completely up for it because we had added so much value to them during these past weeks, during the past months. And so it was a very easy sale, and that is why I love the cross-selling and the upselling to other services, because it's such an easy sale. This person is already seen the value in your service. The main objections that a lot of clients have when first being signed by an agency is that they don't have that trust, they don't have that confidence because they haven't seen you work, right? That is why sometimes they ask for testimonials and all this stuff, is because they haven't really seen you work. So once they see the caliber of your services and your team, right, and how much you guys actually know, and not only that, but you've given them value upfront on those exact topics that you're probably gonna upsell them or cross-sell them to, then it's such a no-brainer, right? And not only that, but what I would say is it actually helps the client a ton and your results. Why? Because once we can actually take care of the email marketing, maybe the website optimization side of things, maybe the whole sales process, maybe the messenger chatbot, there's going to be a lot more congruence in our marketing strategy. Why? Because there's not going to be a chain of communication between us and another agency that's taking care of that, or a freelancer, right? It's just going to be us. We take care of everything, and that for the client is a lot more stress-free, and also for us is much easier because we can then have complete congruence, and there's really no friction in the conveyor belt. So that's really the first thing that I want you guys to keep in mind, to just increase the value per client, and this could increase over time with you, and in fact it should increase over time. Because you should be constantly be finding more ways to add value to your clients. Because you should constantly be finding more ways to add value to the client. So that's the first thing that I want you guys to consider. And the second thing is the lifetime value, the LTV of a client. At this point, you guys probably already know because I say this quite a lot in the channel, but my average retention rate is 40 months, okay? So when I sign a client for $3,000 a month, for example, right, the value of that client is not just $3,000 a month. The value of that client is actually $42,000, okay? And so there's so many benefits to having a high lifetime value of a client, and there's really two factors that play a role, right? There's you can sign more clients, right, increase your agency's revenue, or you can just keep the clients that you currently have for a longer time, okay? And trust me when I say this, the latter is so much easier. Just keeping the clients that you currently have for longer is so much easier, and it's actually more beneficial. Let me explain why. The first thing is, it is much harder to sign a client than to keep a client. And that is just a well-known fact. It is much harder to sign a client than to keep a client. Why? Because to sign a client, they're going from a complete stranger to a paying customer. That transition is always much harder in any business. It's not just the agency world, but any e-commerce business, retailer, whatever it is much harder to get a customer to buy more products or stay on for a longer time. The second thing I would say is that referrals are made so much easier. What I found out again is the 6 month, the 6 to 8 month, your clients will just naturally refer you to their network. Whenever someone asks, hey, I'm trying to do some Facebook ads or grow my e-commerce business, and trust me, they have a lot of people in their network who do similar things. That is just how us humans work. They're going to refer you to other people, right? So that transition and that referral system is so much easier. And honestly, it just comes organically because they've been with you for a long time, and it just comes naturally to them, right? It just comes naturally to them because they truly believe in your value, and they truly believe that you can add value to their network too. So that's the second thing. The third thing, and going back to our first point, is that cross-sells, right? Getting them to sign on to other services that our agency can offer is so much easier, because what I can tell you is that if they've stayed on for 6 to 8 months, then they're much more likely to see the value in your service, which means they're much more likely to then go ahead and sign on to another one of your services. And the fourth and final point, and this is a bit more intricate, is a bit more advanced, but if you run ads for your agency or you do any type of paid acquisition, that does not always involve Facebook ads, by the way. If you do any type of paid acquisition, then you can actually pay more than your competition usually to acquire a customer, because you know that a customer stays on for a long time, and that customer is worth a lot to you. So upfront, you can actually pay a lot more for that client, which helps you beat out your competition. And so those are really the 4 benefits and the 2 easiest ways to build your social media marketing agency in 2020. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a big thumbs up. It really helps out with the algorithm, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, leave down below in the comments any questions you may have on this video, and I'll be sure to check those out. The final thing is, if you haven't checked out my free private mentorship community, the Client Closers, it's an incredible community full of like-minded people looking to scale their agency and level up in life. So if you want to join that incredible community, go ahead and check out the link in the description. And as always, guys, hope everything is going well in your agency journey, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.